Why does my mom eat after everyone else? The question didn't explode into the room. It didn't come with shouting, or tears, or drama. It slipped out quietly, too quietly for an 8-year-old. The factory cafeteria was not the kind of place where big questions were supposed to be asked. It smelled like boiled vegetables, overused oil, and something metallic that never really left the air. Long metal tables, plastic chairs, fluorescent lights that hummed like tired bees overhead. End of shift. Boots dragged across the floor. Heavy coats creaked. People rubbed their wrists and backs the way people do when pain has become a part of the uniform. On the far wall, a cheap plastic Christmas garland sagged between two nails. Someone had taped a paper snowflake to the door. It was already torn at one corner. This was what holiday season looked like here. In the middle of it all moved a woman. Not the boss, not a supervisor. Nonna me plate, no microphone. She wore a faded dark blue sweater under a thin apron. Her factory badge clipped slightly crooked near her collarbone. Her hair, dark brown, almost black, was tied back in a quick low bun, a few strands falling near her temples as if even her hair was too tired to stay in place. Her name was Mara. Her hands moved constantly. Ladle, tray, refill, wipe. She poured soup into plastic bowls, placed bread on plates, added a spoon, a napkin. Here you go. Careful, it's hot. Next. Her voice was soft but clear, sliding under the rough laughter and tired complaints around her. No one clapped for her. No one took pictures. No one thought to call this service. To most people here, this was just how things were. You worked all day. Then someone like her made sure you didn't go home on an empty stomach. Near the corner sat a little girl at a small table pushed almost against the wall. Feet not touching the floor, knees swinging slowly in the air. She had straight dark hair, pulled into two loose braids, the elastic on one already slipping. Her eyes, big, deep brown with long lashes, followed every movement near the food line. Her name was Lena. On the table in front of her lay a closed notebook, a pencil with bite marks near the eraser, and a small plastic cup of water she hadn't touched. She wasn't whining. She wasn't asking for snacks. She wasn't scrolling on a phone. She was just watching the way hungry people hold their trays with both hands. Watching the way some of them took more bread than others. Watching the way her mother nodded and smiled at each of them. Sometimes, Mara glanced back at her daughter and gave a quick, small smile, the kind that lasted less than a second but said, "I see you. I didn't forget." Lena always smiled back, but her smile never quite reached her eyes. On the opposite side of the room, near the entrance, a man watched the same scene. He looked like he belonged on a different floor of the building. Dark wool coat, cashmere scarf, polished shoes that didn't squeak or drag. But he belonged here more than anyone else. His name was Adrian. He was the one who owned this factory. For most of his life, factory had been a line on a spreadsheet, a location in a report, a set of numbers under the word profit. He knew the names of machines. He knew the output capacity. He knew the maintenance costs. But he hadn't known the sound of this room at the end of the day. The clinking of cutlery, the sighs between spoonfuls, the muted jokes spoken not for fun, but just to keep the air from feeling too heavy. He had started visiting his own companies quietly in the last year. No cameras, no announcements, just walking, observing, trying to figure out why some part of his life felt out of focus. Today, the blur sharpened around one person, Mara. He noticed the way she stood slightly sideways, keeping her body between the food and the crowd, as if protecting it. He noticed how she gave slightly larger portions to the ones whose eyes never lifted from their boots. He noticed how she laughed at a weak joke from a tired worker, not because it was funny, but because people sometimes need to feel like they are. She moved like this place belonged to her, even though nothing technically did. Then he noticed something else. Everyone who lined up eventually sat down. Trays on tables, chairs scraping, bodies sinking into seats with grateful groans. A low wave of talking rolled through the room. Soup, bread, refill of tea, spoons tapping. Mara stayed on her feet. She wiped the counter. She refilled one last pot of tea, just in case. She stacked the extra plates back into a metal crate. The others started eating. She started cleaning. It was so normal that no one questioned it. No one but Lena. The girl's eyes flicked from table to table, then back to her mother, then to the steam still rising from the soup pot. She knew this pattern. At home, her mother always did the same. Breakfast, serve Lena first, pack her small sandwich for school, clean the pans, then maybe a bite over the sink. Lunch, she didn't see that one. It happened somewhere in the blur of machines and breaks that were too short. Dinner, Lena would sit at their small table, wait patiently, and watch her mother taste things, just a forkful here and there, before finally sitting down herself. Sometimes there was enough for both of them to eat until they were full. Sometimes there wasn't. On those nights, her mother's plate looked suspiciously light. "It's okay. I already ate at work," Mara would say. Lena had stopped believing that sentence months ago. Now, sitting in this cafeteria, she watched it all repeat in front of her. It was like seeing home projected on a bigger screen. She saw the same thing. Her mother made sure everyone around her was fed, then picked at whatever was left for herself. But here, there was one difference. Here, there was someone who looked like he could change things. Adrian. He had been talking quietly with the plant manager a few minutes earlier, their conversation clipped and practical. Numbers, schedules, production lines. But Lena noticed something that the manager didn't. When Adrian looked at her mother, his eyes didn't skip over her like everyone else's. They slowed. They stayed. He watched the way she stood near the sink, finally taking a bowl of soup for herself, holding it with both hands, as if it might be taken away. He watched how she didn't sit at any table. She just leaned against the wall, one shoulder pressed to the tile, as if she didn't want anyone to move for her. It was then Lena slid off her chair. Her sneakers touched the floor without a sound. She gripped her notebook like a shield. She walked across the room, passing between legs of chairs, around coats draped on the backs of seats. No one stopped her. Children in places like this learn how to move without getting in the way. She stopped right in front of Adrian. He looked down, surprised for a second, then softened. Her eyes were serious, too serious. "Hello," he said quietly. "Do you need something?" She inhaled. This was not the first time she wanted to ask this question. She had tried before. At school, church, at the grocery store when her mother counted coins too slowly. Each time, someone shushed her. Not now. Don't say that. Adults are talking. But today, the words came out before any adult could catch them. Sir, why does my mom eat after everyone else? The cafeteria sound didn't stop. No one turned around. No dramatic spotlight fell on them. The world kept moving, but Adrian felt like someone had pressed a hand flat against his chest. His first instinct was to say something soothing. Something like, "Oh, I'm sure she's fine," or "She probably just prefers it this way." But he had learned something recently. Children don't ask deep questions for shallow answers. So he didn't lie. He crouched down so that his eyes were level with hers. "What makes you say that?" he asked. Lena glanced over her shoulder. Mara was still standing by the wall, sipping her soup in small, careful spoonfuls, the steam fogging up the lower part of her face. "She always eats last," Lena said simply. "At home, here, everywhere." Her fingers tightened slightly around the edge of her notebook. "Sometimes there isn't much food left," she added. "She pretends she's not hungry. She says, 'Good moms eat last.'" Adrian felt the sentence hit him like a quiet blow. "Good moms eat last." He repeated it in his head. He thought of his own childhood. He thought of his mother, who had never worked in a factory, who had never washed dishes in industrial sinks, who had never gone to bed with an empty stomach, but who had still done a version of the same thing. More wine for guests, more food for visitors, more time for everyone else, less for herself. He had grown up believing this was just what love looked like. But standing here, looking into the eyes of this girl, he realized something different. Love had been twisted into a kind of self-erasure, a disappearing act. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lena." He nodded. "Lena," he said slowly, like he wanted to remember it exactly. "I think your question is important." She seemed almost surprised to hear that. "Everybody says she's strong," Lena added, as if she was working something out loud. "She works when she's sick. She works when she's tired. She works when my stomach hurts because I'm worried." Her eyes glistened, but no tear fell. "But nobody tells her to sit," she finished. Adrian followed her gaze again. Mara had almost finished her soup now. The bowl wasn't empty, but there wasn't much left. She wiped her hands quickly on a towel, put her bowl in the sink as if it were in the way, and went back to wiping tables. Adrian noticed something then he had missed before. There were enough chairs. There was enough space. No one had told her she couldn't sit. She just believed she shouldn't. Invisible rules. Rules no one writes on posters, but everyone follows. He stood up slowly. "Can I ask you something, Lena?" he said. She nodded. "Would you sit with her?" he asked. "If there was a chair for both of you?" Lena's answer was immediate. "Yes." "No," she corrected herself quietly. "I mean, she would say she's too busy." Adrian nodded because he knew she was right. "How long has she worked here?" he asked. "Since I was little," Lena said. "How old are you now?" 8. "What about your dad?" She shrugged. "He left when I was 5. She she said with the bluntness of a child who has had to say this many times already. He said he was tired. He said we were heavy. She looked down at her shoes. I didn't know people could be heavy without being carried, she whispered. Adrian swallowed hard. He looked around the room, the workers eating, the manager checking his watch near the door, the old garland trying to be festive on a peeling wall. He suddenly felt like he was seeing an X-ray of his own company. On paper, everything looked fine, profitable, efficient, stable. But here in this cafeteria, he saw the cost in a way charts never showed. He saw it in the cracks on Mara's hands, in the way she stood with one foot slightly shifted forward, ready to move again before she'd even rested. In Lena's quiet, serious question, "Sir, why does my mom eat after everyone else?" He had come today to review operations. But now, he realized there was something else to review. What kind of world had he helped build? If the people who held it together believed they had to starve a little, just to prove they belonged? He looked back at Lena. "Would you sit with me for a little while?" he asked gently. Her brow furrowed. "Why?" "Because I'd like to watch what happens here," he said. "And sometimes it's easier to see clearly when you're not standing alone." She hesitated. Then she nodded. They sat at one of the empty tables, side by side. From there, they could see the whole room, the rolling of shoulders as tension slowly drained, the way tired workers leaned over their food like it might run away, the traded jokes about the weather, the machines, the holiday bonus that would be just enough for one extra chicken, if we're lucky. And in the corner of it all, Mara, wiping, stacking, checking, moving between tables like a quiet guardian. She didn't hover. She didn't lecture. She just existed in the spaces where things would fall apart if no one cared enough to hold them. "Do they pay your mom extra for this?" Adrian asked quietly. Lena shook her head. "She says it's just what needs to be done." "Do they write her name anywhere?" he asked. Lena's eyes drifted across the room to the wall near the door. There was a bulletin board there, with photos of Employee of the Month, safety reminders, and a printed announcement about a holiday party for staff only. Lena's gaze lingered on the photos. "No, Mara. No," she said. "They don't." "Does she complain?" Adrian asked. "No." "What does she do when she gets home?" Lena thought for a moment, then answered. "She says, 'What a long day.' Then she asks me how my day was. Then she listens." She picked at a peeling edge on the table. "Sometimes she falls asleep in the middle of me talking," she added softly. "But she always apologizes when she wakes up." Adrian let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He looked at Lena again. He saw the way her shoulders were folded inward, as if she wasn't sure how much space she was allowed to take up. He recognized that posture. He had seen it in boardrooms, in meetings, in emails from people who always signed, "Sorry to bother you." He had spent years rewarding the loudest voices, the ones who demanded, who shouted, who made themselves impossible to ignore. But now, watching Mara, he wondered, how many quiet people had he built his success on? People who believed their worth was measured by how easily they could disappear. A chair scraped behind them. The plant manager approached. A man in his 50s with a tired tie and a notebook full of numbers. "Mr. Hayes," he said to Adrian, "we can head upstairs now if you'd like. I have the quarterly reports ready." Adrian turned to him. "In a minute," he replied. The manager followed his gaze toward Mara. "Oh, Mara," he said, as if her presence had just registered. "She's always like that. Good worker. Never complains. Hardly takes breaks. Reliable." He said it like a compliment, like a line of data. Adrian's jaw tightened slightly. "Does she get a break?" he asked. The manager blinked. "Well, technically yes," he said, flipping through his mental rulebook. 20 minutes, like everyone else. It's on the schedule." Adrian nodded toward the sink. "And when does she take it?" The manager glanced over, then shrugged. "She prefers to help," he said. "Some people are just naturally helpful." He checked his watch again. "Sir, we really should." Adrian held up a hand, stopping him gently but firmly. "The reports can wait," he said. His eyes stayed on Mara. "People like her," he added quietly, "have already waited long enough." Lena watched him carefully. She didn't know exactly who he was, just that he was important, and that important people sometimes made things worse. But there was something different about the way he looked at her mom. He didn't look through her. He looked like someone who had finally noticed a light that had been on the whole time in a room he never entered. Lena's fingers relaxed slightly on her notebook. She didn't know what he would do. She only knew one thing. For the first time, someone had heard her question and hadn't told her to be quiet. "Sir, why does my mom eat after everyone else?" The question didn't leave Adrian's head. Even after the cafeteria noise softened, after workers began drifting back toward the locker rooms, after the plant manager cleared his throat for the third time, stayed, like a small stone in his shoe, that somehow hurt more. With every step he took, he finally stood. "Can I talk to your mom for a minute?" he asked softly. Lena nodded, but she didn't move away from him. She followed beside him, quiet, watchful. Mara was stacking trays. Her shoulders were rounded, not from weakness, but from years of leaning forward, always reaching, always doing. "Excuse me," Adrian said gently. She turned, not startled, just polite. Her eyes were warm, but tired, and her smile appeared automatically, a reflex built from customer service. Managers, supervisors, men with questions, people with power. "Yes?" she asked. Her voice was soft, almost apologetic, as if she was already assuming she'd done something wrong. Lena slipped closer, until their sleeves brushed. Mara placed one hand on her daughter's head, absent-minded, protective, like she always did when she needed to anchor herself. "You didn't eat sitting down," Adrian said. It wasn't an accusation, more like a statement he was still trying to understand. She blinked, a small shrug. "I'm used to it." "Why?" he asked. She hesitated. You could see the answer forming, then retreating, then forming again. "Because there's always work left," she said simply. "And everyone else is tired." He waited. Silence stretched. She sighed, barely audible. "And," she added quietly, "if I sit down, someone will think I'm lazy." She didn't say who. She didn't have to. Supervisors change. Policies change. Buildings change. But systems, the invisible expectations, stay. Do you get your full break? He asked softly. She nodded. Yes, she said automatically, then paused. Well, sometimes it becomes shorter, not because anyone forces me. It's just easier that way. There it was again, not forced, just shaped, like water learning to flow around rocks long enough that it forgets there was ever another path. Lena tugged slightly at her sleeve. Mom, she whispered, you could have sat with me. Mara looked down at her daughter, and for the first time that day, something like guilt passed across her face. I know, Zaika, she said gently. I wanted to, but she didn't finish, because what was she going to say? But people are watching? But they already think I'm replaceable? But good moms eat last? Adrian felt something tighten in his chest. He could sign contracts worth millions. Without blinking, he could negotiate, fire, hire, merge, restructure. But somehow this conversation felt harder than any of it. My name is Adrian, he said finally. I work with the company that owns this plant. Mara straightened a little, not out of respect, out of instinct, the careful instinct of people who've learned. Power can be dangerous when it is bored, tired, or trying to prove a point. Did I do something wrong? She asked. He shook his head. No, he said softly. You did everything right. He looked around the cafeteria. Too right, he added under his breath. She frowned slightly, not understanding. Can I ask you one more question? He said. She nodded. When was the last time someone told you to sit down first? Her answer came fast. Never. Not bitter, not sarcastic, just honest. He nodded slowly. Would you try something for me? He asked. Suspicion flickered across her face, just for a moment. What? He pulled out a chair. Sit, he said gently. She froze. The room wasn't full anymore, but it still felt like it was watching. I still have dishes, she said. They can wait, he replied. She shook her head. That's not how we do things here. He exhaled. That, he said quietly, is what I'm afraid of. Lena gently placed her small hand on her mother's wrist. Please, Mom, she whispered. For once, Mara looked at her daughter, not at Adrian, not at the sink, at the child she was always putting second in the name of survival. Her jaw tightened. Then, slowly, awkwardly, she sat, as if the chair might break, as if someone might shout, as if permission itself felt dangerous. She folded her hands in her lap. She didn't know what to do with them. She laughed nervously. This feels strange, she said. Adrian smiled softly. It's supposed to, he said. First times usually do. For a moment, no one said anything. The cafeteria was quiet enough that the hum of the lights felt loud. Then the plant manager approached again, half confused, half annoyed. Mara, are we all done here? He asked. His tone wasn't harsh, just brisk, efficient, used to being obeyed. She opened her mouth automatically. Yes, Adrian turned. She's on break, he said gently. The manager blinked. Oh, of course. His mind was clearly scrambling, trying to reorder hierarchy, responsibility, expectation. I don't believe she's ever taken it like this, he admitted. Adrian nodded. I know. He let the sentence hang there. A quiet accusation without teeth, without blame, without shouting, but unmistakable. Mara looked uncomfortable, as if sitting were somehow louder than working. Lena, however, looked peaceful for the first time today. She rested her head lightly against her mother's arm. This, she whispered, is how dinners look in the movies. Mara laughed softly. Movies aren't real, she murmured. Adrian heard that, and something inside him disagreed sharply. They could be, maybe not fairy tales, but at least worlds where people didn't disappear just because they were quiet. He checked his watch, then slipped the thought into his mind like a seed. Things need to change. Not tomorrow, not after another meeting. Now, but change, real change, doesn't happen with big speeches. It starts with the smallest rule rewritten, like this one: good moms do not have to eat last. He stood. I'll let you rest, he said softly. Mara nodded, unsure how to respond. Thank you, she whispered. Not gratitude for charity, gratitude for permission. He walked away slowly, Lena's question echoing behind him. Sir, why does my mom eat after everyone else? He didn't have the answer yet, but for the first time, he cared enough to find one. Sir, why does my mom eat after everyone else? The words followed Adrian all afternoon. Into the conference room, into the production floor, into the quiet office where graphs, spreadsheets, and quarterly projections usually had the final say. He sat at the long polished table, but his mind remained in the cafeteria, not on profits, not on machinery, on a woman who believed she didn't deserve to sit. He opened the employee handbook. Pages, so many pages, attendance, productivity, protected equipment areas, incident forms. But when he searched for the word break, he found it. Short, neutral, a technical sentence about duration. Nothing about dignity, nothing about how people were treated. He leaned back slowly. That silence inside him, the one he normally filled with agendas, didn't feel empty, felt awake. Someone knocked gently on his office door. The plant manager peeked in. You wanted to talk? Adrian gestured to the chair. Close the door. The manager sat down carefully, like someone approaching bad news. Is something wrong? He asked. Adrian folded his hands. Not wrong, he said. Just revealed. The manager waited. In your cafeteria, Adrian continued, who usually eats last? The manager thought, then shrugged lightly. Kitchen staff mostly. They clean up first. And do they sit? Another shrug. Sometimes, not often. They're busy. Adrian nodded slowly. Or, he said quietly, they're afraid to look like they're not useful. A flicker crossed the manager's face. Recognition. Uncomfortable recognition. No one tells them they can't, he said quickly. Adrian didn't argue. He simply replied, sometimes silence says it for you. The manager didn't answer. He stared at the desk, then exhaled. All right, he said softly. What do you want to change? Adrian didn't rush. First, he said, We write the rule clearly. He slid a notepad across the table. Breaks are mandatory. Breaks are seated. Breaks are respected. Second, he continued, no employee cleans while someone else is still eating. We rotate. Together. The manager nodded slowly. And third, Adrian added, voice gentler now. No one, especially service staff, eats last because they're less important. Silence. Then something unexpected. The manager smiled. Not big, not dramatic, just quietly. I can do that, he said. Good, Adrian answered. And for once, a policy meeting felt like something human. That evening, the cafeteria didn't look different. Same tables, same trays, same buzz. But something invisible had shifted. There was a new sign near the serving counter. Simple, unfancy, take your break. Seat, we'll cover each other. Mara read it, twice. Her eyebrows drew together. Then Carlos, the line cook, came up behind her. Go, he said, grinning. My shift. You sit. She laughed nervously. I can help you. He shook his head. Orders can wait. You can't. It still felt strange when she sat, like walking on unfamiliar ground. But this time, no one stared, no one frowned, no one waited to pounce. In fact, two other workers dragged up chairs beside her. They sat too, like it was allowed, like it was normal. Lena watched from across the table, eyes bright, chin resting on her folded arms. For a few minutes, Mara didn't rush, didn't plan the next task, didn't look over her shoulder. She just ate, slowly, present, breathing between bites. And something inside her, the thing always clenching, finally softened. Later, when the shift ended, Mara walked outside with her daughter. Winter had deepened. Snow fell heavier now, thick flakes drifting under the streetlights, painting everything quieter. Lena tucked her cold fingers into Mara's glove. Mom! Yes. Today looked different. Mara smiled softly. It did, she agreed. Did someone give you money? Lena asked. No, her mother said. Did someone give you gifts? She shook her head again. So why did you smile more? Mara stopped walking. She knelt, eye level with her daughter, hands gently on Lena's shoulders. Because today, she said quietly, when I sat down, no one made me feel like I didn't belong there. Lena considered that, then nodded seriously, like a little adult cataloging a truth. That's better than money, she said. Mara laughed softly. Yes, she whispered. Yes, it is. Across the parking lot, Adrian stood by his car, watching them go, not intruding, not announcing himself, just witnessing what policy papers never show, how a life shifts, not with applause, but with the smallest corrections. That tells someone you matter, even when no one is watching. Christmas approached. Decorations went up in the plant. A small fake tree in the lobby. Paper snowflakes taped crookedly to windows. Coffee cups wrapped in seasonal sleeves. On the break board, someone had scribbled, "Thank you for the new rules." No signature, just gratitude floating in marker ink. Mara pinned a little handwritten note nearby. I'm learning to sit. Thank you for making it safe. Lena drew a tiny heart beside it, and somewhere in the side margin, someone else had quietly written, "Me too." The last shift before Christmas break. The cafeteria lights felt warmer. Staff laughed a little more. Steam rose from cups. Mara took her seat, not hesitating now, not apologizing. Lena curled beside her, drawing stars on a napkin. Adrian stopped by, hands in pockets, coat dusted with snow. He didn't act important. He didn't make a speech. He just said, "May I join you?" Mara nodded. "Of course." He sat with them. Same table, same height, same plate. No hierarchy, just people. For the first time, Lena didn't ask why her mom ate last, because tonight she didn't. She ate with everyone else, side by side, seen, not rescued, respected. And outside, while snow softened the world, something else softened too. Not suddenly, but quietly, the way real change always does.